Hello and welcome to another episode of CXO Fireside Chat on a very interesting and timely topic, which is all about education innovation in the digital age. I'm your host, Kalpana, founder and chief editor, Education Technology, part of CXOTV. And we have the honor of hosting Kanak Gupta, group director, Seth M.R Jaipuria Schools. Kanak is an edupreneur, environmentalist, public speaker, and writer, and former theatre professional. He has achieved recognition within education industry through awards like Indian Educator of the Year, British Council Young Creative Entrepreneur, which is really inspiring. Kanak, thank you for joining us today.
No, my pleasure, Kalpana ji. Thank you so much for having me here.
My pleasure too. So, to kick things off, could you share your thoughts on how digital innovation is reshaping education in our rapidly changing world?
Sure. So, first of all, I think it's a very good topic that we are discussing about. I think, we are sensitized about it, but the more we talk about it, the more we will learn because honestly, none of us are really experts when it comes to digital innovation and we're all learning as we go along. But talking about it, digital innovation is fundamentally reshaping Indian education and world education in a big way. It's unprecedented as to the kind of opportunities that are taking place. Kalpana ji, I also feel that not just opportunities, but implementation at school level, at residences of people. So in today's rapid changing world, integration of edtech solutions and these platforms are very, very important. We as educators need to adapt these tools in traditional system into our thought processes. I also feel that we have already implemented quite a bit of it when we talk about flipped classrooms, when we talk about collaborative projects that happen. So there is a lot going on, and with the rampant rise of AI, and it has happened since November 2022, right? Like when ChatGPT was launched, the world changed, and we all recognize the power of AI in a big way. You might be on the ChatGPT side, or you might be on the resistance, saying that this is not yet your cup of tea. But it is something that you cannot discount anymore. And yes, AI is rising very, very fast. Embracing these digital tools and platforms can address a lot of the challenges that we face as individuals, as educators, and we should work towards it, towards learning more about it, towards implementing it more in our lives, and also as to how it will impact the lives of our students. So I'm really, really excited about the new era. I'm really excited about as to how our children will take up technology in the present and in the future.
Yeah, sure. Especially when we can see that they are born with the smartphone in their hand.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They're born with the smartphones in their hands and they use it better than you and me.
Yeah. So as you rightly said that in this rapidly evolving landscape of edtech solutions and platforms available globally now, so more than ever before, I would say, how important it has become adapting these tools into traditional systems that we follow. And most importantly, can they coexist effectively together? What's your take on this?
So I think firstly, we need to recognize that the future is here and now. We need to understand it that, we need to upskill ourselves towards these technologies. I'm the last person to actually pitch technology versus tradition, right? Like I think there is a marriage possibility happening between the two. We need to leverage the benefits of both. For example, at Jaipuria Schools, we recognize the importance of addressing these gaps. We also recognize the importance of upskilling our teachers. Our parents also, are becoming digitally literate. You cannot distinguish tradition and technology. We need to be deep-rooted in our traditions, but we also need to be forward thinking towards technology. Once we are able to do that, well, what education essentially does, Kalpana ji, is ensure that we as human beings develop that skill for differentiation. We can adapt the technology for the benefits, but we cannot compromise on the empathy. We cannot compromise on the engagement in the classroom, creating excitement in the classroom, energy of an educator. These are the things that cause or bring in real education and erudition for the students. So all of that will happen, but technology can only be an enabler, another E. technology can be not replace the teachers. Quite a few educators have said this before. This is not my line, but it's not technology that will ever replace the teacher. It is teachers who use technology better who will replace teachers who don't use technology. So it's the experience in the classroom which is important, that you and me as educators, as people who are sort of in the forefront of things, need to understand that, create that experience in the class.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Group Director of Jaipuria Schools, what innovative approaches have you seen or implemented to enhance the learning experience using technology?
So at Seth M.R Jaipuria Schools, we've implemented quite a few things. Firstly, we understood that, technology needs to be on the forefront of everything that we do. We work in tier 2, tier 3 cities. These cities traditionally have not been recognized for the kind of students that come from these cities. I'm so proud of everywhere we work. Growing up, in a privileged city of Calcutta, I lived, worked all over the world. I lived in the US, I lived in the UK, and I did not know as to the kind of potential India has. It's only this role of mine where I've seen that there is this unprecedented opportunity that India presents. The aspiration level of these cities are amazing. And our motto has been very simple, that we want to provide the equal opportunities to every student. And technology makes it possible for us. So when we talk about collaborative classrooms, when we talk about collaborative projects, when we talk, for example, a student in a city such as Bonda could be collaborating with a student in Bhiwadi on creating a Formula One car. And that has been possible only through technology. It's not just a Zoom call, but actually collaborating on various strategy tools as well, on design tools. Ultimately, it's the human intervention that comes in. Ultimately, you have to always look at it like, this is one of my most famous examples. When TerraVision, which was sort of previous to what Google Maps did, it started as an arts project, as a humanities project. And it has now become one of the biggest technological things with Google Maps. Now, unless you have that human intervention, you will not be able to use technology. Unless you enable your students to use technology, you will not be able to implement it in the classrooms. So we have flipped classrooms, we have collaborative projects, we have collaborations with universities across the world. We don't just use video conferencing, but on an everyday basis for feedback, we use Moodles. For a lot of our processes, such as teacher enhancement, upskilling, etc., we use technology. We use Mentimeter for a lot of feedback sessions in the classrooms as well to make it more engaging. These are some of the tools that we use, but the basics remain the same. That's what we've always strongly believed in.
So in terms of smart classrooms, are there any specific implementations been done at Seth M.R Jaipuria Schools?
So interactive whiteboards, I think, is something that most of the schools have used. I think instead of only focusing on having the hardware part of it, it's the behavior patterns that we focused on. Typically, Kalpana ji, what would happen in schools is that, if we would start something, parents would always have a thing that, bacha bigad jayega, we should not be using this because there could be a problem. So instead of doing a blanket ban, we started saying, let's educate ourselves first. Let's educate our parents, because that behavior change as to how you can use something. Remember, at one time, calculator was also looked at from a negative perspective. At one time, we were told that internet is going to be the worst thing possible. But today, you and I are talking to each other using the internet only and through a video conferencing platform. So while we have the setups of, an interactive whiteboard projector, videos, etc. in the classroom, it is more important to sensitize as to how do we use it. Like, for example, we have SEL learning with one of our partners in the UK, in the United Kingdom. SEL is the socio-emotional learning for the students. Now, the reason as to why we got that in was we wanted our students to experience a global perspective. So when you talk about globalization and when you talk about the world becoming smaller, when you think about opportunities that you need to provide to the students about learning, you need to sensitize them first. And every tool in the classroom, digital libraries included, only provide tools for improvement. That's what we strongly believe in. So yeah, having interactive whiteboards, etc., is simpler, but that behavior change is the tougher piece of the puzzle, and I'm so glad that we are doing that.
Yeah. So we can put it in the other words, like, if we compare the adoption of technology in education sector, then, in a sector, say BFSI, or maybe health. So even health is not that fast as compared to BFSI. So what are the factors, which are holding, maybe one I can understand that you're telling is the mindset, the behavior, whether it is of the parents or even it is of the teachers who are a bit scared of, getting replaced. So what are the other key factors, which are actually holding education system back in the full implementation of, or maybe I would say at a kind of a pace that technology adoption is happening in other sectors, like kind of BFSI. UPI is one of the biggest achievement in BFSI. So why India is lacking in terms of that kind of level of adoption in education sector?
So I think it comes back to behavior. Like, I think kudos to all the teachers, every educator worldwide. The March 2020, we all know about it when the pandemic hit, as to how the education fraternity sort of battled. And, we were fast-tracked. We started using technology faster than ever before. And it's brilliant as to what the educators did. Now, the same educators were later on banned for using technology, and probably that put people on the back foot a bit. I wish, our teachers, not just my teachers, I'm saying teachers in general, are really appreciated and respected for what they do on an everyday basis. It's not simple managing emotions of thousands of students on an everyday basis. It's not simple, when you are being judged from the window of a home, as it happened during the pandemic time, when the whole family would sit around the laptop and look at as to how the teacher is teaching in the classroom. And from there to now, use it on an everyday basis for projects, for flipped classroom, for actually understanding that teacher is not the sole provider of information that's available on the internet. Teacher now has a role of a facilitator. Teacher can now do, a lot more discussions with students. That has become very, very important. What's holding us back is, again, the mindset change. There's also a joke that I have, Kalpana ji, that, besides teachers, everyone else is an expert on education. And that's what the world strongly believes in. So no matter what a teacher does, he or she will always get advice as to, how they could do it better. I think advice is welcome. But my only humble request to society in general is, please appreciate educators for what they do. They put in a lot of effort. So while we recognize and understand technocrats for creating UPIs, great. I think, massive respect for that. But also try and understand that teachers have their own role to play, to have those technocrats also learn. So there's technology behind the technology, which is happening at our schools, and there's holistic development happening at the schools. If we understand that as a society, we'll grow faster.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people, maybe first thing I would say, parents are very judgmental when it comes to teachers. Yeah. So
And I welcome advice from all parents. I think that's something that we really look forward to, because good advice can come from everywhere, right? But it has to be a conversation. It cannot be a one-way street. It should be acceptance on every level. So, we spend a lot of time with our parents. We spend a lot of time handholding parents also for workshops. And we always start in a manner that, you know everything, we don't know much. And we get the experts in, and we have a hands-on workshop with parents for them to be sensitized about it, that even their learning curve needs to go up. We do this with a lot of companies. So we run management institutes as well. And we do it with a lot of companies where we sensitize them about it, that, the world is moving faster. Our students are moving faster. We need to play catch up to most of the things that we do.
Yeah. So I think there are schools these days, introducing, as per the new education policy, they have started adopting with the, giving classes on AI, giving the options for the additional subjects, which is more towards skill development and, in sync with the new education policy. So already lot of work has already started. But I think digitalization in K-12 still has to go a long way, because somewhere down the line, parents have their one thing in mind that, as you said, that you also run management schools. So for higher educations, definitely they understand that, these students get matured enough to use technology. But at a K-12 level, people have seen with, our genuine problem, our very ground level reality is that even students are not very serious while they were confined to their systems during the COVID period. How many of them were actually seriously attending the classes?
Yeah, it's very difficult to
Yeah.
engage anyone on a digital space is very difficult. And Kalpana ji, I'm seeing that change. Like, previously when you would have a webinar, there would be thousands of people logging in to see. But now, even if you have celebrities coming in, no one is really concerned about it. And you're seeing this as reflection of as to how the society has moved, right? Like, we used to talk about the work culture. We used to talk about as to how we used to be a muscle industries where people would work in factories. And then we became brain industries where you would apply your brain. And now we talk about emotions as to, using technology, but also more about empathy and social is what we're looking at. We're seeing that transition happen everywhere, where people don't want to really listen to others. Everyone thinks that I need what is in it for me. Where is my FaceTime? Where am I getting that recognition? You see how social media has changed. Like previously, you and I would be on social media to actually see as to what our friends, colleagues, relatives are doing. But now it's become hyperactive television as to how it used to be previously. We are just watching some people who have created reels and we all just keep scrolling our phones, looking at reels for hours and hours, but we are not really concerned about being the social element of it where we don't look at our friends, we don't look at our relatives. I'm saying all of this very consciously given the fact that not half an hour ago, United Kingdom, one of supposedly the progressive countries of the world, has banned mobile phones in the schools, saying that, students should not bring because they are all looking at only social media, not doing anything else. So there's a massive transition that's happening in the world. And I'm so glad that education is at the forefront of it all.
Yeah. So, I think that's a very interesting point that we have come to, that how actually we are using the technology. So whether, we are able to channelize the energy or it's just becoming a source of entertainment, and that too with the cringy videos, that we can see these days in the reels, anything going viral, which is a very cheap kind of a pleasure that, our students have started taking, or I would say the new generation have started. I think again that's a great topic to discuss, and a separate, we can have another episode around it, that where exactly our society is moving. Coming back to the productive use of technology. So in your perspective, do you think that embracing what kind of digital tools and platforms can actually address challenges within traditional education system while fostering creativity among students?
So I think creativity is something which is absolutely on the forefront, and I think we can use technology a lot for creativity. But most importantly, we talk about it, right? Like passion is the word which is thrown around the most. Passion, creativity, entrepreneurship, leadership, these are the buzzwords that are used mostly in today's world when it comes to education. Now I feel that as a technocrat or as an educator, we need to dim the boundary between the technology and the creative side of it, but encourage students by giving them opportunities so that they can actually develop their passion. You cannot develop your passion from day one. You need to be given multiple opportunities to develop your passion. And we don't need to look at, creativity from the window of you can become a graphic designer, or you can become a podcaster, or you can become a coder. Well, those are not the only areas of being creative when it comes to being a technocrat and creative. Like, there's boundaries that need to dim. You need to provide your students opportunities to do everything that you would do in the traditional sense. If you're a writer, I encourage students to write more and put it out in the world on social media and ask for feedback. If you look at the kind of workshops and the kind of content that is being created. It's brilliant. If you think that you want to be a singer, record your voice and put it out there on Spotify. I think the kind of feedback that you would get and the kind of probably fast track success that you might achieve is something which is brilliant. So technology can help you on those careers as well. When it comes to research, when it comes to looking at archives of everything that has been done previously, and also analyzing it for your benefit, AI does a wonderful job of it. All you need to do is filter it on AI, and then you ask the AI with a prompt as to what is it relevant to your research topic. So as students, as educators, as technocrats, we need to understand as to how to use it better. The how is more, the why and the how is more important. The what becomes very simple once you've figured that out.
Sure. So how important is it for educators to adapt their teaching methods to align with the technological advancements? And could you provide any examples of successful integrations at your school?
I think that's a great question. I think that's probably the most important questions. Now, you talked about NEP when we started talking, and the NEP talks about upskilling and skill development is at the core of NEP. NEP also mandates some training hours. Now, NEP is the starting point of reforms, and it's a great visionary document as well. I think building up on that, we should look at it as to how we can upskill our teachers. We need to understand something that our teachers, most of them, would be kids of the 80s and 90s, and they would not be digital natives. This is the generation which has seen the most transition ever. And it's very harsh to judge them with the digital natives of today. The kids of today, as you were talking about, that, the mobile phones for them is simple, or using the laptop or using any kind of coding is simple for them. But for anyone who's not naturally accustomed to it, it's tougher. So please, firstly, let us empathize with the teachers. Secondly, let us handhold them for upskilling. Unless we do that, it's impossible to have a classroom which is more dynamic. Because in the classroom now, students are no longer looking for teacher to be the source of information. They are looking for teacher to be the source of decision-making, agility, to actually help them comprehend a lot. So what we generally do is that we do about 3 to 4 training programs in our schools every year. And we bring in these controversial as well as complicated things in the classroom for the teachers. We tell the teachers that this is what the problem statement is and how would you find the solution. And it does not happen overnight. There will be resistance. And we've been patient about it. It will not be such as that, you start using it on day one. That's the biggest resistance people have, resistance to technology. So we don't give up on that. We don't give up on ourselves. We also try to learn, because none of us, at least I don't come from a background of technology. I have also, educated myself on it. So we've provided opportunities to our teachers for upskilling themselves. I'll give you one great example. All our schools would do newsletters, and they would all come in manner of force, right? Like, we would be looking for content, and every educator who's watching this would probably relate to it, that getting a school newsletter out is one of the toughest things ever, because someone's not recorded the data, there is no picture, there is no article written. And now, because of using AI, newsletters are happening every month, because teachers have become accustomed to it. I didn't do it. The teachers themselves did it, because they saw it that this is a problem, and there was an aha moment that, yes, this is what makes my life simpler. So this is how we are probably encouraging and empowering our teachers.
Yeah. So AI assistants, the ChatGPT, are actually empowering, I think, the education system, the educators as well as the students in learning. So what role does collaboration between industry professionals and educational institutions play in driving forward the meaningful change through tech-driven initiatives?
So collaboration between industry professionals and educational institutions is very, very crucial. We as educators have always followed what the industry has suggested. I think the time has come where there has to be more collaboration to understand as to what the industry wants and what the education institutes can provide, and vice versa. Industry insights will always help educators understand the current and future skill requirement. while education expertise ensures that technology is driven in an effective manner. I think that is the most important part of the puzzle. So what I always encourage is get industry experts into your schools to talk to your students. Get industry experts in your schools to look at your processes. For the industry experts, get educators to your offices to actually get them to understand as to what are you working on and what is probably the piece of the puzzle that the educator can solve in terms of strategy, in terms of technology, in terms of implementation. Because the analytical mind of educators probably works slightly better than it when it comes to industry experts, because they are doing the same thing repeatedly. So that collaboration, hand in hand, would probably enhance both sides to work better.
Yeah, so it has to be a two-way communication.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So if we can, also discuss about leveraging emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and augmented reality and virtual reality, which are very interesting technologies for experiential learning in the classrooms. So how do these technologies contribute towards a more interactive learning environment? And if, you have seen some kind of implementations, would definitely love to hear some use cases.
Sure. So I think, what started off as, a showpiece with AR, VR and AI has now become a reality in many of the schools. And I'm so glad to see the interactive and the immersive experiences that are being created at schools. It's very, very good for students to enhance their learning experience. And probably, COVID actually made it happen more. When the museums were shut, we all started doing virtual tours of the museums to understand as to the power of it. When we realized as to how we can take it further forward, we had AR create a walking lion into a nursery classroom to give the student an experience that without going to the zoo also you have a lion right next to you. And that is an unbelievable experience as to how things were happening. It's become very easy where sitting at home, you can get experience of something far, far away through satellites, through VR, etc. So I think while we encourage it, I think we are still on the starting point of it. While all of these real world scenarios have come into the classroom, it's fairly complex because typically I've seen it become as events in the schools, events in the classrooms. The intersections will happen and it will grow more as we go along. But it's very, very exciting. It's tremendous potential for AR, VR to be in our classrooms is something that excites me tremendously. It provides immediate feedback. It creates excitement in the classroom. There's experience. More importantly, the students remember it forever because, you have different types of learners. Some learn by watching, some learn by experience, some learn by reading. So you need to cater to all of it. And AR, VR is bringing that element where you cater for every learner in the classroom.
So how far we are from the day when, our students will be carrying their own devices? When we talk about having more of the AR, VR implementation when it comes to interactive learning and immersive learning. So how far we are from the day that, will be, at least in the urban, cities, I would say, in tier 2, 3 definitely will take some time. And wherein there won't be any, school bag, wherein, students are carrying too many books to read, the textbooks and the notebooks, and it's just one device that they will be carry of their own.
So, I'm of the opinion that devices should be for enhancement of the teaching learning experience in the classroom and otherwise for the student. When we as a fraternity went wrong in the late 90s and the early 2000s was where we thought that this is going to be replacing everything that we've always stood for. And, we started showing videos and we thought that the students will learn on their own without intervention of the teacher. I believe in self-learning. I believe in self-development, but I also believe that it has to be honed in a manner that the teacher enhances the teaching learning experience in the classroom. We're not very far from acceptability on it. I think we will have a lot of devices in the classroom, but those devices would be for adding value to the class. not for replacing teachers or for replacing the teaching learning process or for replacing collaborative projects. A lot of the device work would be for creating project sheets, for creating reports, for creating presentations. Those are the things that I would like to believe, not for replacing the teachers. I think that is something which is very
for the assessments and the lot of the other things. So, as an edupreneur and environmentalist, how do you see the intersection between education innovation and sustainability?
So I think any educator, any individual, anywhere in the world should have sustainability on top of their agenda. With due regards to Elon Musk, we do not have a planet B yet. I know Mars planning is happening, but we need to educate our students about as to what we are facing. I think global warming is a reality. I think pollution is something which is depleting a lot of our resources. And unless we work on it today, we will not be able to have a very long sustained future. And as an educator, I believe that there have to be environmental programs in schools where we understand problem identification more than just routine problem solving. For example, a problem of a New Delhi is very different to a problem of, Bahraich, where air pollution might be the biggest problem. But air pollution of Delhi is because of construction dust, because of cars, because of industrial waste. Whereas in Bahraich is the ambient air of the cooking chula, which is probably causing most of the air pollution indoors. Now, how do students identify and solve for that? How do they use technology for problem identification, for creating more awareness for it, and then solution finding, thereby taking it to policy level? This is the entire journey for sustainability, from finding the root cause of the problem to taking it to policy, which will benefit people in general. That is what we need to do. So it has to go hand in hand, where we create that awareness also, but we also use technology to solve for the problem.
Sure. So, what strategies have been most effective for scaling your network of schools across tier 2 and 3 cities while maintaining the educational quality?
So, we are very conscious of as to how do we proceed. We understand the benefit and the power of collaboration. We work with entrepreneurs at tier 2, tier 3 cities, where we look at, in a manner that we are collaborating not just for education, but for societal development. The bulk of our growth comes from tier 2, tier 3 cities. We look at, the potential of the city. But the biggest thing is, Kalpana ji, the aspiration level that people have in tier 2, tier 3 India is phenomenal, where people want, good quality education to come in. And I'm so glad over the past few years, even this entire thing about the languages has gone, where we used to be intimidated about English. That doesn't happen. Now, we are very comfortable conversing in Hindi. We are very, very deep rooted in our cultures. And that is the kind of connect that we found. We are very proud of our Sanskrit curriculum called Dev Bhasha, which is deep rooted in philosophies. But this is something which has found great liking all over the world. Like University of Berkeley in California calls us a school for greater good in the world. Now, these are accolades that we take very seriously also. But for us, there has to be the city has to open up in a manner that they take our education processes, they understand as to who we are. It has to be a city where, our teachers would find comfort in living. We'd be able to send our team for support. And gradually we are expanding. Now we are in 6 states across the country, in about 43 cities, about 56 schools functioning all over the country. And we are in no rush in terms of numbers when it comes to leveraging our strength, which has been our academic processes. We use technology tremendously through video conferencing, through LMS systems, through our ERP systems, but we are in no rush to scale up. We believe that scaling up can happen, but quality cannot be compromised with.
Yeah, sure. So what role can leadership play in fostering a culture of continuous improvement through technological advancements across educational organizations like yours, like at Jaipuria School?
But leadership for me is not about commanding positions, but about empowering possibilities. I say this all the time that, there's wisdom, strength, harmony, perfection that can happen in schools, and it can happen through leadership. A lot of our processes are collaborative. We are strictly an organization which is a very matrix organization. We do believe in open door policies. So that has helped us build a culture of learning in a tremendous manner. Everyone has a right to speak, etc. If we believe that there is a technological intervention that is required, we try to drive it, but we do it in a very democratic manner. However, if there is someone in the organization who believes that this will help, they are most welcome to share it. We have open town halls. We have learning tools through our own. We have iJaipuria, which is our own learning platform. We take use of the national and international platforms such as Coursera, LinkedIn Learning. We use them as well, and we nominate our employees for the same as well. We have regular training programs for our in-house employees in every aspect of the business and technology. So I think for us, because we are a learning organization, we believe in all of this more. We function towards it all of more, and we don't look at it only as a mandate. We look at organizations as infinite. There is no end goal. There is no end farm. So if you constantly keep learning, you will improve. My role as leader can only be that of an enabler. I'm as much a learner as anyone else. If there is something that needs to be done at my level, it will be participative. And I would try to, apple see apple is something that I strongly believe in, that, people try to imitate monkey see monkey or apple see apple, whatever. So, as a learner, you try to encourage your colleagues more towards by showing them what are the benefits that you're using out of it. But structured programs help a lot. Structured programs, structured interventions help a lot. You can then give feedback to each other as well for building upon as to what your learnings have been.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kanak, for joining us today and taking out time from your busy schedule.
Sure. No, absolutely my pleasure. I'm glad that you could take time out to speak to me and hear my thoughts. And I hope this will be of benefit to everyone who's watching it.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
For more updates from CXOTV, please like and subscribe to our channel.